Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Indieheads podcast. I'm your host, Matty, a.k.a. at Monrovian Prince on Twitter. On this week's podcast, we have...
Dylan. I'm at DaigoJams on Twitter.com.
I'm Zach. I'm at Waffle113 on Twitter, and I'll make it easy for you right now. So this is our first podcast in about a month.
God damn it, Zach. Steal, I was... Okay. Who else do we have? Hang on.
Stealing your valor right now. You really
Zach,
down on
how dare you steal my valor and steal my consistent running quote? But hey, hang on, we have one more person that we're interrupting somebody.
Oh right, I'm Lily at Lily Mikowski on Twitter and other things.
Okay, now that's out of the way. God damn it, Zach! You're stealing my valor. You're stealing my shine to tell everybody that because. Every single time, like, this podcast is cursed, okay? Every single time I say, hey, we'll be back next week, or we'll have a more consistent schedule, never fucking happens. I've said that probably so many times in the past, like, year and a half. And
consistently inconsistent.
Exactly. So, here's... my promise to you guys is that I am not going to guarantee that we will be back in a very timely fashion. It's
just consider every single podcast we do from now on just our last one until the next one.
Basically, yes. We're going to leave you guys on cliffhangers every single time we end the podcast now because, hey, if David Lynch does it, we can do it too. So let's do it, baby. But yes, we are back. There's some albums that we forgot to talk about, or we did. It's funny because we're just going to reveal the main topic. We're doing another album catch-up. Right after we did another album catch-up because we are lazy and that is our go-to is like, album catch-up, that's fine. But there is some news that happened over the time that we were gone. Actually, some news that happened just this week. So we're just going to focus on that and let's just get straight into it. This first bit of news is very tragic. Tom Petty, classic rock icon, has passed away at the age of 66. He had a heart attack, went to cardiac arrest, and in the day that the news broke that he had this cardiac arrest, it was just a giant mess of media coverage because people were not clear if he was actually dead. People weren't sure if he was alive, but it was confirmed later that night that he had passed away, but was still hanging on. And I'm not I've not really listened to much Tom Petty. Is anyone here a Tom Petty fan and can do the proper the condolences, as XXX Tentacion would say?
Well, that's the funny thing with Tom Petty. Like, I don't know if anyone would like, oh, I'm a Tom Petty fan, but you know his music. I doubt that you've been alive and not heard at least some of one Tom Petty song. Stephen Hyden got it right. Like, Tom Petty was oxygen. He was concrete. He was tap water. Like, the dude was just everywhere, and he never really went away for as long as his career went, and now he has gone away, and it's a bit weird because he's been omnipresent for so long.
And yeah, exactly, and also only 66. Like that's still like kind of young. Like usually expect these guys to die. Well, the classic rock guys. I was gonna say like usually expect these guys to die around like 80 and 90s, and then I remembered, oh yeah, cocaine was a thing. So, but still, very tragic nonetheless.
Bob Dylan's 10 years older than him, and he's still kicking around.
I think Bob. I mean,
how the fuck did Mick Jagger outlive Tom Petty? I'll never know.
It's all the stage antics. It's all the spasms and moving around on stage,
and the sex.
And the sex. I mean, basically, like David Bowie gave his life force to Mick Jagger, pretty much. Do you guys not know about that they had like an affair?
Oh yeah.
Anyways, rest in peace, Tom Petty. I'm actually
go listen to Full Moon Fever, Damn the Torpedoes.
I'm gonna dive into his stuff after this podcast. At least I'm gonna try to, because I got some days off. So, rest in peace. But now on to our next bit of news. I think the last time we talked about Ezra Koenig, I think it was about Neo Yokio, about that being announced, and Vampire Weekend is back
So
in the news.
fucking good too.
Holy shit, Neo Yokio.
I need to
We
watch
need-
it still.
We need just a tiny Neo Yokio cast because that shit's fucking great.
I am totally down to do that as soon as I watch the series. But Vampire Weekend and Ezra Koenig are back in the news as apparently, according to Ezra, after a studio session with Kanye West with some other guests in there like Dave Longstreth, he was like, "Oh, I'm actually a bit more open to collaboration now." And apparently, Steve Lacy has been doing some work on the new Vampire Weekend album LP4, aka Mitsubishi Macchiato, aka shit. I was trying to remember what the. I think I was trying to remember like there was some like gentrification joke that was made about this album that I can't remember right now. But Steve Lacy is working with Vampire Weekend, and that's fucking exciting because Steve Lacy is fucking great. His demo EP from this year is amazing.
Steve has breakout star of the year potential. Like the EP earlier, he got a production credit on Kendrick's album. He's working with Vampire Weekend. Like, kid's going places, and I think he's like a few years younger than I am.
He's 18. That's insane.
Holy shit! What have I done with my life?
Like he made I think what was the internet album from 2015? Oh, Ego Death. Like he was like in the band while he was like still in high school. Like he was a producer and like player on a Grammy Award nominated album at the age of 16. Like that's insane. To be like that accomplished, like that young, and also just to have like music that just feels like that mature and that like like this guy's already got like his own kind of like sound and style at like a really young age, and that's always like kind of crazy to see. Like because usually at that age you still go they're still biting off somebody, but with Steve it's like, well, there's some influences, but like he's kind of got his own little lane he's driving in. That's kind of impressive. So I'm excited about this, and obviously, of course, new Vampire Weekend. Hopefully, I think it'll probably come out in 2018 at some point. I'm not sure. Like I was gonna say early 2018, but like I feel safer saying like quarter 2 2018 than quarter 1, but. I mean, that's all I gotta say. Steve Lacy.
Definitely my most anticipated album I'm not really gonna understand of 2018. Just I know what the response is gonna be, and I'm just not quite there. Anyways.
It's okay. I have a similar take for later in the podcast, but you guys will find out at a later notice. But on to our next bit of news, and for this bit of news, gonna crack open a cold one of Pepsi real quick as Bruce Springsteen.
Damn it! Fuck off! No, shut up.
You sold out. You sold out. You sold out.
See, I can't have a beverage like Mike's Hard Lemonade be associated with this podcast. It's an alcoholic beverage. It's very bad for you. Pepsi, on the other hand, it's also very bad for you, but it doesn't have alcohol, so on a technical level, it is better for you. But in a recent interview, Bruce Springsteen, he sort of like he takes us through a tour of his iTunes playlist, which includes two very special artists. One being Sufjan Stevens, who he was quoted to saying, "He's great." And he also talked about Kanye West's The Life of Pablo, and he said, "I thought that was an amazing creation, especially the arrangements." And also gave shouts out to Magnetic Fields, Iron Wine, Lana Del Rey, and Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton soundtrack. So,
Woo!
That's my favorite detail of this article is that Bruce Springsteen calls albums creations, because he does that twice. He calls Hamilton and Life of Pablo creations. And I have to imagine that just his default word he uses for pieces of music, and somehow that is just like the most heartwarming thing.
It's so Bruce is the fucking. I mean, he's the boss for a reason. Like he's just fucking great. Like you have all the like a bunch of other like classic rock like icons who like end up being like wrong generation dweebs. Like, oh, I hate the modern music, and Bruce is like, hey, these guys they're still putting out some great creations, and it's like, damn, you gotta love Bruce. Also, we gave a shout out to the National saying I'm a big fan, and my son is a huge fan. So. I wonder who else has thoughts on the National. I guess we'll have to find out a bit later on in this podcast. But I just want to mention. I just had to mention that for a joke. Dylan, are you okay? Are you okay, my friend?
I had something in my throat. I'm sorry.
I don't want to make. I don't want to have a live choking happen on the Indieheads podcast.
No, I'm okay.
All right.
I'm okay.
Good.
I'm okay.
I'm glad that my friend Dylan is okay.
Thanks. Hal.
Okay. I'm gonna let Dylan. I'll let you take this. Wait. Yeah, Dylan. I'll let you take this bit of news, unless Lily wants to take it. I'm not sure who the bigger fan is here, but one of y'all can take this bit of news.
I guess I'll take it. Fuck it. It's not like a huge news piece, but John Hopkins said on Twitter that he's quote unquote nearly fucking finished with his next album, which will be the follow up to 2013's Immunity, which I'm very excited for, just because Immunity is one of the best electronic albums of the decade. Just a nearly flawless blend of house and techno and IDM and all these other influences that really was just like the perfect little vignette of like early 2010s electronic with influence of like fly-low and down tempo, and you have all this stuff from like bonobo to just all these different variations of house that popped up. And he's been working on this for it'll be like 5 years, starting 2018, which is when I'm assuming we're gonna get it, is 2018.
Oh, that's a good point. I forgot Immunity was that old.
Yeah,
I forgot it was 2017. Shit.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. I should stop being shocked that things from 2013 are 5 years old. The thing I love about this announcement is that, not even announcement, just an offhanded tweet about it, is that he says nearly fucking finished, as if he's having to constantly mention the album to people, when to my knowledge this is the first update of any kind he's given.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he wasn't tweeting about this every day. He wasn't Immunity follow-up OTW every other hour. This is the first time he's mentioned it, and he's already sick of mentioning it, which is hilarious. But yeah, it's exciting. I don't know what he's going to do. I wish I had a context for his trajectory pre-Immunity, because I kind of only know that. But we'll see what he does. Hopefully, maybe something different. I don't know.
He was mostly just a producer on a bunch of other. I know he produced Ghost Stories by Coldplay. He was the main producer on that.
He was also Brian Eno's co-producer essentially on Viva La Vida. He worked under Eno a bunch before he kind of broke through in his own terms. And apparently even he has said his first couple albums are kind of forgettable. It was just sort of after the Eno thing that he really started breaking into his own thing, and seemed to have gotten into that sort of movement of early 2010s, really organic techno alongside Bonobo and Fortet and all those artists seem to be a part of that movement.
Yeah, before Immunity, he did some bits on Milo Xyloto. He produced Shrines by Purity Ring.
Oh, I didn't realize
in 2012. Yeah, I never actually knew that before now. I'm looking at what else he did. Yeah, he mostly just produced with Coldplay. He did stuff on Viva La Vida. He did stuff on Prospects March. He did keyboards and other programming and producing stuff with Brian Eno. He's actually got a pretty solid mainstream reputation. He's done a few film scores. He did it for Monsters in 2010, and he's just all over the place, pretty much. So, but no, really, there hasn't been a whole lot that he's done since 2014, basically.
Yeah, which, by the way, that half quasi remix EP he put out from tracks from Immunity, Awake versions, that is super solid.
It's
and not
really,
enough people
yeah.
listen to that. Yeah.
The King Creoset song, like the opening track of that is just sublime. That whole
Yeah, and that was like the
EP
best
is
track off
sublime.
Immunity anyways. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
yeah.
so next story, Matty.
Oh,
you wanna-
I just
you wanna
want to
take that one over.
I'll take this one, but I want to just very briefly mention, yeah, Immunity is fucking great. Excited about this. I think, like, yeah, Jackson put me onto Immunity, like, a couple months ago, and I loved it. And, man, Jackson, I wish he was here to actually talk about Immunity. Man, I wish he'd show up on the podcast sometime.
Yeah,
This
I gotta
episode.
do an episode with Jackson sometimes. I had no idea he was such a head. That guy knows his shit when it comes to the beepy bloops.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
he's
pleased.
like... He's like, I think he's like right now, like, yeah, he's like he does consistently like DJs and is like trying to do producing stuff soon. So, but man, it'd be really nice to hear from Jackson on this episode, but he's busy right now, so we'll see. But next bit of news, Ought have recently announced that they have signed to Merge Records, and they have a third album slated for release in 2018 or early 2018, and boy. I'm very excited about this. I think Ought, to me, this is one of my many hot takes I'll present on this podcast tonight. I think Ought is like my favorite band of the most recent like post punk wave. As I think like again, More Than Any Other Day and especially Sun Coming Down are like two of like my favorite records of the decade. Like Sun Coming Down is like a fucking incredible album, and if you want to hear my thoughts on it a bit more in depth, I did a For Your Consideration for it like 2 or 3 months ago, I think. So check that out. But I'm very excited about this. The new songs they played live when they were opening for New Pornographers sound fucking great. Definitely, it seems like the slant is not as it's a bit more accessible. The new songs, like it's not as it seems like it's kind of combining both like some of the dissonance of Sun Coming Down with some of the more like joyfulness at times of More Than Any Other Day, some of the more youthfulness. So I'm definitely interested to hear the album, especially after Tim's solo album. So I'm definitely excited for more tunes because I've been waiting for this album for like a long ass time, and I want it now. Give me the album. Give me the album. Ought, please give me the album. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Unless anyone else has some thoughts.
Brief shout out to the Ought Lyrics Twitter account, which is easily one of the most gratifying bots on Twitter.
Oh yeah, they followed me, and
Yeah, they followed me back too.
I love me some Ought Lyrics. Let me tell you. All right. Actually, I was actually listening to Sun Coming Down today, like on my way back from class, and God, it's so good, so goddamn
Something about
good.
just being able to retweet lines from Beautiful Blue Sky. It's a very special experience.
God. But our sort of our last bit. This one's kind
I just like to check in and say that I just like to check in and say that I used some lyrics from Beautiful Blue Sky for a communications assignment, and I have no idea how it went. Hopefully, well.
But alrighty, our last bit of news, and this one, I think at least Dylan, Lily, and I all kind of really want to talk about this. I'm not sure about Zach. Zach, do you want to talk about this? Do you have any thoughts before we get like kind of go into depth about it?
I do have some thoughts, but I prefer to save them for the end because, like, you can carry this conversation more than I can.
Gotcha. All right. So very recently, the Fader put out a piece about Anthony Fantano and his second channel, That Is the Plan. And the Fader article basically kind of details his pandering to the alt-right and just general edgelord humor. And after Fantano found out that this Fader hit piece was coming out, deleted the channel, or basically deleted all the videos on the channel, said, YouTube is demonetizing these videos, so it's like, so obviously that, you know, they don't want this content, so I'm just going to take it down. And like a really bullshit, like, excuse, like, no, it wasn't this Fader hit piece, it was YouTube, they were demonetizing my videos. And yes, I did start a Patreon account to do these videos more often, but I'm gonna take that down too because I want to focus on my main channel and stuff. And but I'll let someone take it from here because I'll say my thoughts for a bit later.
It's really funny that I don't know, just like the Fader kind of put it out as this like almost sort of scandalous thing, but really, it's like pretty much anybody who's watched Fantano, or like has watched Fantano, or has some kind of concept of him for like the past few years, basically already knew about the channel anyway. So like his audience really isn't gonna take a hit. It's just that now he has a bunch of bad publicity and shit. He'll probably stop getting so many interviews, but who the fuck knows? And I don't know. It just seems like this really silly thing, because I was like, when it came out, I was like, yeah, like you guys didn't know about this already? Like the channel had been around for like a few years already. He kept putting out videos and promoting it and doing like, I remember he would do like fucking like meme reviews or some shit like that.
No, that was like basically like originally the channel was just like your average person like doing like YouTube stuff. Like he'll put up some cover songs, and it was actually like at first it actually was like kind of like a nice channel. Like he had some more like unedited, raw thoughts on some music stuff, some outside music stuff. And I think like some of the first comedy stuff he was doing there, like some of the more like improvised stuff, I thought was pretty funny at the time. Just because it wasn't the stupid edgelord humor, it was more of like Mega 64 improv style stuff of like just taking a subject and just riffing off of it. Like I think when I give it to you raw, like I thought that, I think that stuff was funny. But then starts getting into the meme reviews, and like you're getting more into the basically like the $1 million extreme type like humor and editing, like and you go, no.
It was basically just like a Sam Hyde like satellite channel was basically what it was. Mm-hmm. So it was like, okay, this is shitty. I'm gonna let Lily talk now and take over the conversation because.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with what has been said so far, in that like the actual content of the article is not what is disheartening about this. Like, everyone knew this already. Like, all this article did was conveniently like collect a list of the shit he did that you could like link to your friends who somehow don't know this yet. What's really been like pissing me off about this is the response to it, and like the way this exposes like the really dark underside of this like white boy indie culture, and that there's this weird like defensive apathy that exists anytime like a powerful man gets accused of doing something shitty, where people are like, well, I don't know, like I don't want to have too strong an opinion about this, or like people in comments today were saying that like the Fader article sounded biased, and it's like, it's a list. It's a list. You could have put that article in bullet points and it would not have changed the content. Like, where are you reading bias into this? Like, sure, maybe their intention was to expose the shitty things he did, but like, journalism with an angle isn't not journalism. Like, if an article gives you the impression that a person is shitty, maybe it's because that person is shitty, not because the person writing the article hates that person. Like, there's just this weird, like, utter refusal, and this is part of like what Fantano freaking perpetuated with like a lot of the shit he said on his channel and his Twitter account, is just this utter refusal to take a side on anything for like the benefit of some greater like free speech ideal that is like a codified version of like tolerating bigotry. Essentially, it's like getting a pass on that. Like, no, I don't need to stand up to anything really. We're just gonna let that slide because I believe in free speech, even though like the shit people are saying actively hurts people in a tangible way every day. It doesn't hurt me, so why should I inhibit it? And it's just this weird fucking thing of like, I'm not even sure how to articulate it. I'm just like astonished at, and this like has happened for other issues too. And it's funny, like it's kind of the same thing as like the like triple X Tentacion, or however you pronounce it, like thing, when people were commenting on that, like, like, well, this is like pretty damning, but there might be more to the story. I don't want to take a side too early. It's like, there's not more to the story than this, that this is the side. I had a person like comment at me today, saying they wish there was more nuance in the discussion of all this.
What the fuck?
Like, what? It's not a nuance. They were complaining about it being black and white, and it's like, it is black and white. Like, you don't you don't get a choice. Like, the opposite of zero tolerance is tolerance when it comes to these things. Like, if you're refusing to actively like criticize these people, you're not like boycotting or blacklisting these people, you're just like letting them do their thing because it doesn't hurt you, then like that's fucking the same as just giving them the green light to do whatever they want. And that's kind of exactly what happened with Fantano. So I know I'm just disappointed with the state of like the world, and this only puts like another very cynical nail in that coffin in terms of like, fuck, there's just so many deeply ingrained cultural problems that this exposes, and like they all piss me off to no end. And like somehow none of the people who are capable of actually like changing these things seem willing to do so at all, because they believe in like, I don't know, something else, free speech. I don't know. It's really bewildering and disappointing.
Yeah, I think like one of the dumbest fucking excuses I've seen, that I think we've all seen, was like, oh, but it basically, here's the thing. I think the most important thing about the article that people are not getting is like the article it accuses Anthony of being alt-right. It's like, no, the article accuses Anthony of being like, of basically making content like that directly appeals to like alt-right people. And it's like, yeah, that's exactly what he did. And it's like, but he's pro Bernie, he's a lefty. It's like, that doesn't fucking matter. Like,
yeah, the man
that doesn't make it better that he's co-opting alt-right ideology for money. Like, how is that better? That's not different from just being on the fucking alt-right, which also, like, I don't care what the ins and outs of his political views are. He clearly is, to the extent that he like indulges, like he, you know, promotes alt-right figures, he indulges in alt-right thinking, courts an alt-right audience. Like, at what point is a duck a Nazi if it talks like a Nazi, you know? Like, fuck.
Yeah, like the man's personal politics are basically the drill tweet of like, there's zero difference between good and bad things, you fucking moron. And
you fucking imbecile.
Yeah, like even with the whole, it's like, oh, he's pro Bernie, he's like pro single payer or something like that, and I think he voted Hillary or something. I don't fucking know.
He voted for Hillary,
but
he voted for Hillary, but he was like, oh, I hated them both though. I hated them both. Which,
he also told gay people the election results were their fault after it happened, so there's that.
Yeah. No, like the man, like, for some reason, there's this weird feeling that like he gave like To Pimp a Butterfly a 10 a couple years ago, and so that like absolves him of like every shitty, like neo-reactionary opinion that he has now. And it's like, no, it's really not like, and it's almost like upsetting to me how apathetic I am at this, and it's just like how unsurprised I am, because it's like the man literally made a career off of fucking 4chan. He courts an audience of primarily straight, white, cisgendered men who are going to be the exact kind of audience that listens to very weird underground music, and like there's just nothing at all about any of this that surprises me, and I wish it did. I wish I could be like shocked and be like, this is terrible, but it's just
it's like, really, like, you guys are just now, like, I think you guys are just finding this out now, but I want to say one of the most annoying things, obviously, like, the response from his fans is like, that's expected, like, of course they're going to defend him, and it's like at this point in time, it's like, okay, whatever, we know they're going to. I'm really disappointed in like all the other like YouTube music critics that are like trying to be like, oh, this article's a hit piece. It's like, you know, they're just being so biased. It's just all this stuff is wrong, and it's like, I've done videos of Fantano. It's like, Jesus Christ, guys, have some fucking integrity. Like, here's the thing. I will admit, is there some stuff in the Fader article that's like, are there some stretches in there? It's like, yeah, but like, there's enough in that. Like, here's the thing. It's not just, oh, they pick out one thing. It's like, there's a lot of shit in that article. So it's like, maybe there's one thing that's a little stretch worthy, but there's some stuff in there that's like, oh, he's a piece of shit. Like the whole Sam Hyde thing, like laughing along to
God.
Like while
That
while Sam Hyde
physically sickened me when I read that.
like when Sam Hyde is very very detailing, very strongly, like how he would kill Lena Dunham. It's like, is someone playing with a box or something? I don't know. Anyways,
no, that was me. I'm sorry. I'm cleaning my screen off.
Oh, you're good.
I apologize.
But very graphically describing how he would kill Lena Dunham and making fun of I don't remember what it was. It was something about making some kind of racist joke, and Fantano was just laughing along with him. It's there's some some of the stuff. It's there's some stuff here that's maybe a stretch, but there's enough in here that's there's some pretty damning shit in here that even I didn't fully know. I knew he did a Sam Hyde interview, but I didn't watch it because I think Sam Hyde is a piece of shit and super unfunny. And there's another thing that I think this article didn't put in there, but it's very important to note. I remember seeing a video of Fantano at VidCon in a limo with a bunch of fucking of those anti SJW YouTubers and skeptics. It was armored skeptic, some shoe on head. I think fucking YMS was in the fucking car too, which is just the limo. It's oh god. It's
wait, YMS was in it? What the fuck?
Yeah, YMS is I think when, do you remember that tweet that Fantano said that oh, you guys misunderstand centrist? YMS is one of the people in the replies is yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, Anthony. YMS is fucking weird.
No, I didn't see that tweet because I unfollowed him ages ago.
Yeah, but anyways,
Anyways,
Fantano, and I should also note, full disclosure, I didn't want to announce this on the Twitter because I feel doing that stuff is just kind of it's not necessary, and it just feels it feels we're just trying to get score brownie points. But if you notice, we took down the videos that we've done with Fantano. I took down the podcast we did with him. I took down my own interview that I did with him for my radio show. I was and I don't want to associate with these people. Because, it was super disappointing seeing, guys like Spectrum Pulse and Deep Cuts and ARTV, defending Fantano. It's did you guys only pick out the stuff about the second channel? Because there's some other shit in there that's, also, pretty fucking horrible. And it's they're only defending him because it's basically it's oh, we gotta, the whole YouTuber mentality of, oh, we have to protect our own is, it's so fucking stupid. It's if one of your guys fucks up, you gotta... Again, if he fucks up, admit it. Seeing so many people, defending PewDiePie during the whole, anti-Semitism stuff is, Jesus fucking Christ. I still people, describe the Wall Street Journal piece, oh, it was a hit piece. It's no. It was pointing out shitty things that PewDiePie said and did. And then obviously...
I still know people who, will, still defend JonTron, and even though they're yeah, what he said was super shitty, but, I don't know, they still watch his shit, and it's why would you though? I mean, the entire thing of basically the entire foundation of white male internet culture was founded on first is just this belief of being this weird outsider kind of thing, and then it just morphed into just being a bunch of fucking reactionaries.
Yeah, it's just basically, it's these these YouTube people. They're oh, why are all these advertisers why are they leaving YouTube? It's I don't know, because whenever one of your guys does something shitty, you all just defend him and can't hold some sense of integrity and admit hey, one of your guys fucked up. They only it took PewDiePie saying the N-word for some of these people to finally admit oh, these guys, yeah, they actually make our platform look really bad. That's even JonTron going on a whole white nationalist rant on some dude's live stream. Even that wasn't enough for some of these people to be there's luckily there was I actually a good number of his fan base on the JonTron subreddit were yeah, what John said and did was completely fucked up. I don't think I can be a fan of this guy anymore. And and it sucked. It was because I was a big Game Grumps fan and JonTron fan back in the day, but obviously now it's I can admit, yeah, dude's a massive piece of shit, and, I can't view his content, the same ever again.
That mentality of, yeah, they said some shitty things, but comes from, such a position of, disgusting privilege to me, because it's ultimately, it's like, yes, white men on the internet, you're right. Like, this stuff isn't that big of a deal to you. But, like, the thing that was particularly unsettling about the Sam Hyde thing, and again, people, like, between him and Fantano, and people in the comments kind of, like, writing that off as, like, they were being, like, silly, they were exaggerating or whatever. It's like, yeah, because you don't have to see, like, the other side of this violence where it turns into something really, like, real. You can hear it and go home and, like, not experience the world any differently. But, like, on a systemic level, like, these ideologies threatens people's safety in a tangible way, like, enormously. And for me, it's like, I'm not just going to dismiss that. Like, I'm not going to, but whatever, like, someone who fundamentally, like, doesn't want me to exist the way that I exist. And that doesn't seem to be something, like, a lot of people have the empathy to understand. Like, they can't understand that, yeah, someone is hurt by the thing you like. So, like, sorry, you were wrong for liking that, and now you probably shouldn't anymore. Like, there's such this pride and egotism and, like, proprietariness to, like, no, but I like the thing, therefore it's like, no, you really shouldn't. And if you still do, you're effectively sending the message that, like, you don't give a shit about the people it hurts. And, like, that's the message I get from this louder than anything. And that's what I got from a lot of Fantano's, like, early, like, right-leaning politics, is like, yeah, I don't really care about anyone who's not me. I don't see outside myself on these issues. And you know what? Like, I am a proud and egotistical enough person that, like, that doesn't bother me so long as I'm right. It's this insane mentality that has grown out of internet culture. And, like, we have seen the results of it time and time again. And, like, the point was made earlier, this is never, ever surprising to the people on the, like, receiving end of it, because we deal with it so often. Like, it would be such a privilege to be shocked by this, but, like, I'm not. Like, any time one of these stories comes out that, like, a, like, famous YouTube guy or, like, a powerful whoever was shitty, it's like, yeah. And that's such an unsettling fact to have to admit. Yeah.
There was a really good tweet that Open Mike Eagle sent out, I think it was yesterday or the day before or something like that, but basically just said that irony is an extension of privilege. And basically what it just means by that is that to be in such a position of social hierarchy that you're able to kind of, make fun of these things. You're able to make fun of all of the many pronouns and genders of trans and non-binary people, that you're able to take this silly both sides stance on just perpetual violence towards just women of color and people of color and stuff like that. It comes from a deeply rooted space of not only having just an incredible amount of like I said, social privilege, but also just having this sort of weird internet mentality of having the world be against you, to still have this idea that, like, you are, like, an outsider if you, like, browse 4chan, like, once a night or, like, once a year or something like that. To, like, think that the outside world is against you because I don't know, you didn't get enough FAFSA money or something. I don't fucking know. It's just this bizarro mentality that's been born out of just white men being able to freely express just their complete disdain for a world that's already theirs. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on right now? And I started rambling and going off track, but that's the end of my my spiel.
Yeah, I mean, the last thoughts I have is, like, for the other YouTube music critics, because I know a few of you listen to the podcast, because I know I'm just gonna name names. I know Deep Cuts, these guys in, like, his sidebar, so there's a chance you're listening, or really any of these YouTube critics. Grow the fuck up. Like, realize your dude fucked up. Fucking admit your dude fucked up. Admit that he was very, like, actively trying to make content. Here's the thing. like the Venn diagram of edgelords and the alt-right, it might as well be a fucking circle, okay? Like, admit your dude fucked up and hold some... He may not hold some very horrible views, but he doesn't mind making content for people who hold these horrible views. So, hold your fucking own accountable for just goddamn once. And, like, I understand, like, I got connections with him. Fuck that. Like, here's the thing. We've done so with Fantano. Fantano, like, did play, like, he probably got us a couple subscribers. But I don't give a fuck. Like, Jesus. But, I don't know. That's all I gotta say. We should probably move on to the next topic. Zach has some thoughts.
Can I chime in? My take is that even if he's only trying to make a buck off of these guys, which in and of itself is horrible, the long and short of it is that he is legitimizing and giving a platform to people who would gladly see people who aren't cis, white, straight dudes, people who aren't neurotypical, which, i.e. most of us on this podcast, oppressed, subjugated, and worse. He can shove that stupid yellow flannel up his ass and fuck off for all I care.
Hell yeah.
GeoHell resides on a melon. Just a giant fucking melon.
Hell yeah, brother. But let's move on to our next segment. And one which we actually have not done in a little bit, and we're bringing it back for this one because this is like a kind of filler episode, so please bear with us. But what have we been listening to? And I'll start off with this one. I got
the main trimmings.
I got some albums I want to talk about. First and foremost, Japanese Breakfast, Soft Sounds from Another Planet. I was not on the podcast for this one, and I just saw Japanese Breakfast last night in Chicago, and she was fucking great live. Apparently had some issues with the sound, like the sound guy, like apparently threatened to shoot her with a BB gun if she went over the monitors, like jokingly threatened. And I mean, I could kind of tell there were some sound issues throughout the night because, like, I think like Mannequin Pussy, like there was like multiple times where like the singer was complaining that her guitar, like she was not hearing her guitar, and like they had to stop like halfway through to fix her guitar and then get back into it. But despite all of this, Japanese Breakfast, Michelle put on a great show. Very cathartic experience. Like, it was a rough night for me. I won't say, but it was just like, there's a lot of shit that went down. But very rough night, very cathartic. Great live. The album is great, which, by the way, I actually listened to this album backwards because my roommate, we were in the living room, and they were like, hey, let me put this on backwards. And I'm like, okay. And it sounded great still. I actually would recommend, like, if you have the record, like, play it backwards because it still sounds like it's, like, pretty decent, like, ambient stuff. Like, I'm not joking. It sounds good. Don't give me an like, do it. But that's all I gotta say. Great live. Go see Japanese Breakfast on tour if you ever get the chance. I think I might be, like, one of the last people among the podcast crew that, like hadn't seen her up until now. So, it was very nice. And
stay tuned for my 10,000 word essay in December on why this is the album of the year.
Oh yeah, by the way, album of the year
the
2017.
triumphant return.
Album of the year 2017. It's happening, folks.
Coming soon.
December 1st is when it will premiere, and it will premiere with this album that I'm going to talk about very briefly. Lamelda, thanks. Talked about a bunch of the podcast already since I've heard it. I just want to give a very brief update. It is now my album of the year. The last time we did the podcast, it was probably like number 3, number 2, but now number 1. This is my album of the year, baby. It's fucking great. Fucking go listen to our interview if you haven't already. Go listen to the album. It's only 10 songs, 34 minutes. It's a breezy listen, but a very emotional one. It's fucking great. Album of the year. And I'm going to write about it in December. I'm probably actually going to start on it like sometime this week or in the next 2 weeks, because I want to make sure it's good and ready by the time I put it up in December. But Lamelda, thanks. In stores now. And one final shout out. What were you gonna say, Zach?
I just wanted to say I gave Thanks Listen on a whim, and like it. Maybe I'm a bit cynical, so I didn't expect it, but it was every bit as good as you were hyping up to be. It's a terrific listen. Like, and that moment at the end of Only World where, like, she fucking lets loose after just being, like, quiet, lo-fi singer-songwriter this whole time. She fucking belts the last lyrics out. That was...
it's fucking great.
jaw-dropper.
It's fucking great. Like that was like I mentioned like the Angel Olsen vibes in the interview, like specifically because of like that moment, because like that was like it was like it just I was like just like flashbacks to like My Woman on like some of the tracks in there where Angel Olsen just fucking belts out like crazy, just like lets out everything, and it's like it's so good. And then also like some of the I think not from there. Let me look at the track list really quickly on my laptop.
Go.
Okay. Oh yeah, Far Out is a fucking like that's probably like my current favorite track on the album, because it's in 5/4 and it's super emotional, and like the lyrics are really detailed, and it's like it just gets me every single time, like, and it's just like and also Only World, great fucking outro. Entire album is great. It's album of the year. Listen to it. And if not,
mine is Nervous Driver, and also, if you need any more reasons, it got the coveted 8.0 from Pitchfork, and we all know that's the best score, so get on it.
Exactly. So, Thanks by Lomelda, in stores now. And before we get to the next person, very brief shout out. Charlie Puth put out a new song today called How Long, and attention is not a fluke, folks. This new song, it's pretty damn good. And this album, it might be fucking good. Like, my hot take is that I feel like this album could actually get like an emotion level response from critics, because I feel like this might be the one that kind of like turns everyone over and is like, oh hey, Charlie Puth is like actually good. So that's my take. But this new song is very good, and Attention's still the best hit song of 2017. But that's about all I gotta say. Dylan, you got some albums you want to talk about?
Oh, what? Yeah, no. Hi. Sorry. I was was falling asleep at the wheel there for a second.
It's not
All
safe.
right. Let's see.
Your albums. Okay, by the way, on the schedule, your albums are album 1, album 2 right now. So
I honestly thought I literally thought we just jumped into the main topic. So
I told you like before the podcast. I said put your albums in.
Okay, well, basically all of my albums are in the main topic anyway, so I'm just gonna save it for that.
Fair.
All right.
Oh shit,
Zach.
it's my turn.
All right, Zach, you're up.
Okay, the first album that I want to talk about is like one of the only albums I've been able to listen to the last 2 weeks. Drive-By Truckers, The Dirty South. Like they didn't fuck around with the title. That's exactly what you're going to get. This is a dirty, grungy Southern rock record. Well, maybe not grungy, but it is loud. There are 3 guitarists. The drum is very high up and is mixed very well. And like the songwriting is just fantastic on this album. Like, you have Jason Isbell, so of course you're going to get great songs, and he has at least 2 masterpieces on The Dirty South, which, how did he do it? Holy shit. Like, he was like 22, 23, 24 when he joined the Drive-By Truckers. And he's turning out songs like Danko Manuel and Goddamn Lonely Love? How the fuck do you do that? But, like, Jason Isbell is
alcohol. Alcohol
yes,
is how you
alcohol
do it.
is the reason.
How might Jason just nay on me?
Yeah, but like Jason Isbell isn't the only attraction on this album. Patterson Hood and Mike Cooley are tremendous songwriters in their own regard, and that's the reason they're still around today, even after Jason moved on. Patterson and Mike are terrific songwriters, and they prove it all over the place on The Dirty South in particular. But I don't even know what's... Yeah, like, most of what I talk about is just empty gushing, but seriously, listen to The Dirty South. It is, like... If you want an album that sums up what alt country is, that's it, I think. Like, Dylan, I know you like the Drive-By Truckers too, so do you have anything you want to add?
Give me a second, sorry. No, I don't think... I think you summed it up pretty well. I mean, this is arguably... Or maybe not arguably, I don't know. There are like 3 or maybe 4 definitive Drive-By Truckers classics, and they're pretty much all featuring Isbell on them. So I mean, like the man's just such a prolific songwriter. I mean, we don't deserve him at all.
Don't deserve
and
him.
no. I mean, there are definitely other reasons why, Dirty South is what it is without Isbell, but he is the primarily main attraction on here, on Decoration Day, on I'm blanking out now on.
Let's not pretend A Blessing and a Curse was very good. Let's not do that.
I'm gonna say it wasn't bad.
That's fair. World of Hurt is very important.
This is very important to
Yes.
everything. What else? Oh, fuck. What else am I? Southern Rock Opera. He was on Southern Rock Opera, right? I'm not just making this up.
Nah, you're just making that up, buddy. He joined on the tour for that album.
Oh, okay. Let's see. It said. Oh, yeah. Okay. Never mind then. I could have sworn he played. I could have sworn he at least played guitar on it or something like that, but I guess not.
We're all learning tonight, folks.
Okay.
Anyway, second album I want to touch on in brief is Vampire Weekend's self-titled. Like, I always told myself, oh, this is the week I'm going to start listening to Vampire Weekend, because they haven't made a song that I don't like. But for some reason, this was the week I finally decided to pull the trigger on their self-titled, and yeah, it definitely deserved all the praise it got back then, and if it came out today, I would say it deserved the praise all the same. Like, it's really consistent all the way through. It sounds great, which is to be expected when you have Rostam producing. And with one exception, like, all the songs are, like, great. That's all I can say. It's a great record. So if you haven't listened to it by now, and if you're listening to this and you haven't listened to Vampire Weekend, I suppose you've been living under a rock, go do that.
Fucking do it, okay? Do it. But,
Hey,
before we got...
folks.
Folks. We have a special guest has logged on to the Indieheads podcast.
So a little birdie. We were playing this podcast, and I couldn't be a part of it. This anonymous caller in, but a little birdie told me that y'all motherfuckers haven't really listened to Aromanticism by Moses Sumner yet, or that none of you had really strong opinions on it, which is fine. It's fine, I suppose. But I needed to call in to right the wrongs of this podcast briefly, and I needed to come in off the top rope to tell you that Aromanticism by goddamn Moses Sumney is extremely good ass shit for your ears. First of all, my experience with Moses Sumney was literally none. Like, I had heard like one of his EPs like a while ago, and that was pretty much it. But about a couple weeks ago, the Fader ran a piece on him, like a whole profile that talked about the album as well as him and his career and how he makes music and all this stuff. First of all, I recommend doing that first. Like, you don't have to read the profile before you listen to the album. It's not like necessary reading, but for me, it gives really, really good context on who he is as an artist, and more importantly, it also talks a lot about the concept of the album, which I felt helped me grasp a lot of the themes of the album and like the title of it. Like, when I first heard the title, I was like aroma, like, oh, like smells maybe. No, the concept is like this word that he found on Google search one night late at night, and it's a word that means basically a person who is incapable of feeling romantic love in the same way someone is like asexual, he is aromantic. And it's this whole idea, the whole album is basically about his quest through kind of a rejection of romantic love. The most powerful song on the album is a song called "Doomed," where he like sings like, if lovelessness is godlessness, will you cast me to the wayside? Am I doomed? This kind of feeling of helplessness, not really being able to feel romantic love with other people, and this whole personal, and also, but it's not just like despair over it. It's also he comes to terms with it, and he talks in the piece about how like love is like a capitalist tool, and he gets super woke with it, and I fucking love it. And then like the whole album itself is quite simply like one of the most gorgeous things you will put in your ears this year. Like, his voice is like, someone compared the Pitchfork review, I think, described it as if like Smokey Robinson and Tom York like infused voices, where it's like this beautiful, like soulful falsetto that calls back to kind of like really cool soul music, but it's also very chamber pop and very like alternative, and there's so much like richness and so many like flavorings and shit going on in that voice that is just, there's just so much to dig into, and it's over these incredibly bare, awesome instrumentals that are these plucked strings and beautiful arrangements, and all of the album just like, I don't know, I just can't stop listening to it. Like, it's just one of those albums that's just like 10 songs, and it's like, it flows really well, and it's all highlights. There's nothing, every part of it is like, yes, I like this. The interludes work really well. And then as soon as one of those albums, or as soon as you're done to it, the thing that you're the most in the mood to listen to is the album again. Because it was just long enough that you're like, run that shit back, which is really the perfect album experience. If you can get that album that just like, fire the shit up, here we go again. And so, like, I really love this album. I didn't expect to love it half as much as I did. Like, for the longest time, I've kind of seen Moses Sumney as, oh, whatever. And now, after hearing this album and, like, reading about how much he worked on A Seat at the Table and how instrumental he was as one of the key, like, collaborators with Solange for that album, it's just like, well, fuck, that makes sense. Like, you can really see kind of some of the DNA that he does. And I've talked about this album a lot as, like, how Blonde might have influenced this album, and obviously I think Moses is kind of its own thing, but like I love this album because this album is like, to me, an example of what music can be in a post-Blonde universe. The idea of like not just minimal pop music, but also just the idea of like the way that he deals with these emotional themes, the way that he arranges all this music, the way that it all reminds me of Blonde, not necessarily in the way that it sounds, but in kind of the philosophy behind it, and then also it has some musical identities that it shares as well. And it's just, at any time you can have a chamber pop album that at one point breaks into a Thundercat bass solo is a thing that you need in your life. So listen to this album. This has been a PSA from @Jackson Codfish, your boy, your son. And also, I'm not going to stick around because I do have to get to going. But I also, as we're talking about what we're listening to this week, shout out to Chelsea Wolfe and shout out to Fortet, because they also put out fucking incredible albums this year. Go cop all of that. Go listen to Moses Sumney. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you guys for letting me dive in here for a sec.
We love our fans.
Man, who is that weird? Who is that? Who is that guy? How did he get?
We are now considering music on a time scale of AB. That is before Blonde and after Blonde.
You're goddamn right, we are, brother.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks.
All right, see you guys later.
Well, thanks for coming on, stranger.
Happy to help.
All right, bye, Jackson. All right, then special guest Jackson there, folks. All right, Lily, what have you been listening to this week?
Okay, so first thing I've been listening to, the new Ben Frost, Center Cannot Hold. I will say, like, I feel like Ben Frost was one of those people I thought I should be a much bigger fan of than I was, just because of his, frequent collaboration with the God, my savior, Mr. Timothy Hecker. But I checked out Aurora in 2014 when I got a lot of hype and just wasn't really feeling it. And I don't know if I have to go back to that album or something, because I checked this out, on a whim essentially. And when it hits on Threshold of Faith, oh man, this album just goes from the first second and does not let up. It is so energetic and brutal and just unrelenting and so engaging. If you just want to be slapped in the face with a real sexy wall of noise for 45 minutes, this is the album, because there is just so much great adrenaline inducing, impeccably produced, Steve Albini co-signed, really aggro. I wouldn't even call this noise because it's not that abrasive, but it's still super droney and harsh. And I feel half of that is the production. This really impressed me, and I have not been able to stop listening to it. So I'm gonna have to start getting on the Ben Frost train because this is some shit.
Yeah, I saw someone describe Ben Frost this week as Hans Zimmer with distortion, and I'm not going to be one to disagree with that assertion. I mean, I kind of go with the same feeling towards Aurora that Lily went with. I listened to it in 2014, and I was just kind of apathetic towards it. And then I came back to it earlier this year after the Threshold of Faith EP dropped, and it was like, oh shit, I get this now. And it's honestly just an incredible soundscape. And I've only listened to Center Cannot Hold just 2-3 times, something like that, so it didn't feel like I could completely co-sign it. But it really is just a fantastic album. The entirety of Everything You Love Will Be Eviscerated towards the end is just...
fuck, when there's that switch in the middle, like on the very last track. Oh my god. Jesus. Oh, that moment. Fuck. I feel like I gotta go, especially back to By the Throat now, because I've heard that's like some of his like harder stuff, and I feel like I just want like this album, but
By the Throat,
way more, like even more intense.
Yeah. By the Throat is really, really good. I just did not care for Aurora at all until I finally revisited it earlier this year. But I mean, Ben Frost really is just an absolutely incredible producer, and I don't know a whole lot about noise, to be honest, so I can't say this is the noise album of the year. But if you do like if you like the abstract concept of noise, and you like just streamlined, distortioned, just hard-lined electronic, just listen to Center Cannot Hold, because it's fucking great.
Yeah. Noise album of the year is Contact, by the way. Just putting that out there.
See, I don't know that. I didn't know that. So thank you for correcting me.
I do know that. At least that's what I know. I'm sure there's probably other ones, but anyways, other album I've been listening to is You Shouldn't Be Here by Cutting Room Floor, and I don't remember who like mentioned this album on Twitter, but like that was how I found it. And this is like a fairly like small East Coast punk band. Like they only have a Bandcamp. They haven't really been like that active in the last few years, from what I can tell. This album's from 2013, and it is just like really raw, heart-wrenching, like heartbreaking, really like trauma-fueled and just like wounded punk music. It like, before I even listened to the album, I read some of the lyrics on their Bandcamp, and like they literally put like a trigger warning on like the download link for this album, because they're like, yeah, there's like some shit in here, like, and there is, in a very good way. It's an album that's entirely about like experiences of abuse and experiences of marginalization, and like just a whole bunch of shit that comes from basically like the queer femme experience, and it articulates it all so beautifully and also really viscerally. There are like moments on this album that are, I just like stand Ben Frost and Pharmacon, and there were moments on this album that were like a little too harsh for me, just because they're so like viscerally brutal and the performances are so high energy. But also a lot of the time there's just like really graceful songwriting and lyric writing on here, and just so many lines that just like put a dagger through your heart, because you're like, yep, like that's the feeling, that's it. So I don't know. This is definitely an album I gotta, I've only heard it like 1.5 times, but I need to dig into this more, because there's like a lot to love here that I'm very impressed with on, a cursory listen. And it seems like this band is recording new stuff. I don't know when that's going to be out, or like if it's going to come out, but like I really hope it does, because these people seem like a very necessary voice that deserves to be heard by a lot more people. So like, if you are into just like weird, trauma-y, sad, messed up gay punk, like get on this album right now. It's super good. And yeah, those are my two.
It's main topic time, folks. It's your main topic of the week, folks. It's your main topic. We're doing another catch up because we're lazy, and we have some albums we want to talk about. The first of which is the one that we were supposed to do an entire podcast on, but
we were supposed to do this like 3 weeks ago, and we just
it just didn't happen. Just didn't happen. But we're talking about the new album from The National, Sleep Well Beast, and I'll just get my thoughts out right away. I'll just get my take out. It's very short. I don't think I've drank enough alcohol in my life to fully enjoy The National's music. I think I feel like once I drink enough alcohol, like once I hit that tipping point, I'll really start loving The National. But as of right now, I don't like, my most embarrassing drunk moment was when I knocked over that glass at Pitchfork Fest, like at our Airbnb. Like, that's my most embarrassing drunk moment. So.
Oh, you were drunk? That makes a lot more sense.
Oh, I wasn't that drunk. Like I was buzzed, but like basically that just goes to show, like, hey, like I have not had like a horrible alcohol experience in my life just yet. But once I do, I feel like The National will really click for me. So that's my thoughts. But this is a good album, though.
Well,
I just need to dig into it a bit more.
Well, as someone who has had several painful alcoholic experiences and constantly lives under the state of perpetual, terrifying anxiety that only alcohol can sometimes cure for me, I'm a big fan of The National. They were kind of like the first like actual indie band that I was into when I first started exploring music. Like I discovered them from Portal 2 of all places, and then dove right into Alligator and Boxer and High Violet. This is around the time that Trouble Will Find Me had come out, like a few months before. So I was able to just pretty much dig into their whole discography up till that point. There wasn't anything I was anticipating up till then. And Sleep Well Beast feels sort of like an extension of that Trouble Will Find Me sort of like soft rock, adult contemporary kind of sound, where it's sort of this slow down, like I said, adult oriented, not so much depressive, more of just this grand sense of doom just all the time. And that's sort of The National's music, of just finding that sort of specific mood of just sort of despair and apathy and anxiety that I really love. So Sleep Well Beast is good, but I wouldn't recommend it to someone who's not like a National fan already. Like if you didn't like Trouble Will Find Me, if you didn't like High Violet, you'll probably like Sleep Well Beast. If you liked at least High Violet, you probably won't like Sleep Well Beast if you didn't like Trouble Will Find Me. It's this very weird, contradictory thing, but basically it's, you know what you're getting from this band. The lead singles all up to this point were really, really great. I loved, System Only Sleeps and Total Darkness. That's a mouthful. I really, really fucking loved Guilty Party. Karen at the Liquor Store was alright. Day I Die is fucking awesome. But just listening to this album, it feels like it's very front-loaded. There's Born to Beg, which is one of the big non-single highlights for me. There's Empire Line and I Will Destroy You, or I'll Still Destroy You, or something like that, which are both really, really good tracks on their own. But beyond that and the singles, it's very much blends together. Not so much in the samey homogenous way that Trouble Will Find Me did. That was just like being beaten to death with warm milk at like 1 a.m. I do appreciate though the complete change of pace that happens with Total Neck, because you're just kind of listening to this album in background, and it's like, okay, it's soft, piano rock, sad bearded man singing and crying into his gin, and then it just switches out on an instant, and it's like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm sort of into it.
The Alligator National back.
Yeah, I really just need more Alligator and Boxer National. I don't need any more of this like sad bleepy electronic bullshit.
Yeah, I remember you said in the chat, it's like, this is a great album, but they need to do something, because they can't keep going with Trouble Will Find Me sound.
Yeah. It's basically, at this point, it's like, what you're getting for a national album, so it's just kind of take it or leave it at this point. Unless they change something completely different on the next album, then I will eat my words. But it's for what it is, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, that is a take I disagree with, by the way. I fucking love this album. I'm gonna be upfront and say it. It's like this close to knocking out The Navigator to be my album of the year. That's how much I fell in love with this album on first, second, third listen. It sounds amazing, which, the Destiner's producing, that's going to happen, and the lyrics, the stereotype with the National is that the lyrics aren't really about anything per se, but here they're very clearly about, a relationship collapsing, which, Matt Berninger said, that was almost his marriage with Karen Besser. That this was almost a divorce record, and in a way it still kind of is, but it's interesting considering it from the point when you think about that them writing this record together saved their marriage, basically. That's an interesting little quirk, I think. And yeah, like you said, it's the National. You know what you're going to get at this point. But is that really such a bad thing? I mean, you know what you're going to get from Spoon. They still put out great albums in their sleep. So
I mean, that's true, but also Spoon doesn't they don't have the stereotype that they're only for sad white dudes.
No, Spoon are for happy white dudes.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's
what I was saying.
Continue.
there's gotta be a scale, basically have the Spoon scale of so the National scale on the scale of of basically the sad scale of national albums. So you have your saddest national album, you have your least sad, and for Spoon you have your happiest Spoon album, and you have your least happy Spoon album. Basically, just have the scale of the happy to sad music for white guys, but just have National and Spoon albums. So if someone wants to get on that, please do. I won't do it because I don't listen to National or Spoon enough. But
I'll do both. I'll do both. Fuck it.
God bless our content creators here on the Indieheads podcast. I don't pay them anything, but they do the content for us. But also I don't get paid anything to do this, so I'm kind of fucking myself. Anyways, is that
all I want to say? Last thing I want to say is that this album also produced the National Twitter account saying "fuck you, Karl Rove," so that's a win in my books. But yeah, go listen to this album. You're probably going to enjoy it because the National make enjoyable records. So get after it. Go do it. Yeah, whatever. Lily, what do you think?
I keep procrastinating listening to this. I really loved the System Only Sleeps in Total Darkness, or whatever that song's called. I thought that was an awesome single and an awesome, kind of departure
guitar
for
solo. Holy shit!
But here's the thing. So, little behind the scenes note is when I put albums into my, kind of musical to-do list on Evernote, put a little note of how long they are beside them. And I keep thinking, oh, I should listen to Sleep Well Beast, and then I see that 58 minutes right beside it, and I'm like, ooh, can I do it? Am I really in the mood for 58 minutes of the National right now? I don't know. Like, this might be a controversial National take, but I feel like they're a singles band for me. Like, I really like individual songs by the National, but just like, I don't know. I'm never like, you know what I'm in the mood for is to listen to all of Trouble Will Find Me. Like, that's never a National thought I have. So it's just like, yeah, let's go back to Mistaken for Strangers. Why not? I'm feeling wistful. I don't know. So my take is I haven't listened to this because it's really long, and I'm not like enough of a National diehard to justify that. Yeah. Has everyone like gone through and done their take for this yet? Matty, do you have anything to say?
Oh, I got my take out right away. I'm not enough of an alcoholic to enjoy the National on the level I probably should.
Oh, but fuck!
Give it another year.
We've
and a half.
been doing this long enough that I forgot you gave a take.
Give it a year and a half. We'll see what happens. But because I'm now a
and
college
also,
boy.
Ooh. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Boy. I'm also like getting gradually turned off the National by the fact that like they are becoming, or like not becoming, but rather I'm beginning to see the extent to which they are just like the quintessential like white indie sad boy band, and like that's becoming an increasing turnoff to me just by like political association. It's like, am I going to listen to the National and be able to think about like anything else than like, oh fuck, what was that tweet the other day? I forget who made it, but it was basically just like, the National is like the perfect band for like dudes to sit in their car in the fall and think about like how shitty they were to a girl that one time.
I know what tweet you're talking about. I know exactly what tweet. I know exactly what. That's a perfect, and that is a perfect comparison. I think that's a good note to end off of to talk about this album. And this next one, sadly, I mean, can one of you guys talk about this one? Because I mean, I got nothing. I was gonna say.
I mean, I can like talk about it. I listened to it right before the episode.
We need AJ for this one. AJ.
Yeah, we got AJ to drop in on this one. I enjoyed it like about the same that I enjoyed Harmlessness, which is to say like
we should probably say what the album is. The world is a beautiful place, etc., always foreign. Okay. Carry on.
Oh yeah, I forgot we need to say the titles of albums we're talking about. I feel like we said AJ, and like that could have been, you know, enough for people to clue in.
Well, we have another AJ album on here too, so
I think
that's true. We do.
AJ, like, okay, for the folks who don't know, AJ's album of the year has changed like multiple times within like a month. His album of the year changed. So like Soft Sounds from Another Planet comes out. AJ's like, oh yeah, that's my album of the year. And then like a week or two later, Arcade Fire comes out. And he's like, that's my album of the year. And then a week or two later, Brand New comes out, and he's like, yeah, it's my album of the year. And then this album comes out, and he's like, this might be my album of the year too. So it's been a wild summer for AJ Core, pretty much.
Stan Life is hard.
Sure is. But yeah, this album I enjoyed moderately. Again, like about the same as Harmless, which is to say, like, as I was saying, you know, I enjoyed it enough. It was like pretty good. I'll go back to it a couple times. I don't see it like clicking or being like, you know, a top 20 album for me, really. Like my major quibble with this album is just a lot of it is like specifically directed at a specific person without any real like context given for why, and it's just like, I don't disagree with you. I would just like to know a little more, and also hear songs that are about like other things than how shitty your former bandmate was to you. Although I'm sure she was shitty, and you're right to be writing these songs, like, you know, a little more breadth in subject matter. I was really hoping for this album to grab me, though, given like how much AJ hyped it up, especially in the lead up. I don't know, it's getting praise from good people, but wasn't like magic for me or anything. You know, another solid, like moderately enjoyable emo album. It's pretty much my take on that.
Ba-boom.
Yeah, if I could just, I don't know, just say a little bit about the culture, I guess, because I don't really listen to a whole lot of World is a Beautiful Place, but I am surrounded by people who do listen to a lot of World is a Beautiful Place. So to see sort of the almost sort of this sort of like, oh, they have a new album coming out, and then just not having it hyped up like Harmlessness was. I don't know. It seems like there's sort of a waning of interest in the band, I guess. Where like they're not this sort of vanguard anymore of Midwest emo where they were, back in 2013. I don't know. That's just my analysis of the situation.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, Kaz said former bandmate was so shitty that, like, I don't want to, like, justify her behavior or anything, but I would say on a songwriting level, her influence, or, like, the lack of her presence is felt, kind of, which, like, I don't know how I feel about. This album definitely definitely seems like they peaked with Harmlessness. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's just other emo bands doing other interesting things right now.
Fuck the emo revival. That's all I gotta say. But actually, yeah, I can't stand by that comment. I made that comment like a year ago when we were talking about goodness. I can't say that anymore because I came around to goodness. But I'm not ready yet. It's the pivot is happening, but I'm trying to avoid it as much as possible, but I'll come around. But anyways, next album let's talk about new Proto-Martyr album, Relatives in Descent. I can actually talk about this one a little bit. The singles leading up to this were fucking incredible. A Private Understanding is like one of my favorite songs of the year, and My Children was not far behind, like two absolutely incredible singles. And the rest of the album, as expected, is some really fucking good post-punk. Gonna probably need to take some more time with it, as I think like Proto-Martyr's a bit more dense than like Ought or Preoccupations. Like their music just is a lot more immediate, and Proto-Martyr there's just like a lot. I mean, lyrically there's a lot happening, and so it's kind of hard to take in. Like I think like I've listened to A Private Understanding at this point in time probably close to like 20 to 30 times at this point, just because it's like. It's a song that like it just gets better with like more plays, and so I imagine it's gonna probably be the same thing for the rest of the album. But I will say one of the best post-punk albums of the year. If you haven't listened to it yet, what the fuck are you doing? I might be seeing them live like this week. Actually, what day is it? It's day the 6th or the 5th. I might be seeing them in a few days. I'm not sure yet. I haven't bought tickets, and I probably won't buy tickets just because I just bought a $35 sweatshirt, so. I might have to hold off, but this album is very good. Give it a listen. But anyone else have some thoughts? Hello.
I've not listened to I've only listened to what was it, Private Understanding, like the opening track of the album. Yeah, I've only listened to that a few times. And from what I can gather, it's more of like 2010s post-punk, sort of this grimy, very monotone, very barren vocal delivery, which I actually really really like. So I just need to give more listens to the album. But Proto-Martyr seemed to be just sort of almost like under the radar in terms of like 2010s post-punk. I mean, you have, you'll have your Ought, and you'll have your I'm blanking out on bands right now. Fuck.
There are only 4 modern post-punk bands: Preoccupations, Ought, Proto-Martyr, and Ice Age. Those are the only 4.
Yeah.
Everyone else, they don't exist. They're not real.
It's Ought. There's still Interpol, who's still kicking around. I guess you could count.
Interpol, they dropped 2 albums, and then they disappeared off the map. Just, that's kind of weird. I don't know.
No. I guess you can count Idols as sort of it, I guess, now.
Yeah.
With their debut from this year.
Yeah, Idols is like it's a bit more. It's much more punky. It is a bit more punk than post punk at times. But yeah, Idols is definitely, I would say, part of the new wave. But it sounds very good. Give it a listen.
Yeah, it's more of like just a general, like, you have these very few bands that really aren't leading any kind of revival movement or just general genre revival at all. It's just, these few acts, and there are a few throwback bands and whatnot. Well, not throwback, they're more modern than that, but it's just interesting, this sort of paradigm where it's like you have these few really good post-punk bands, but they're not creating any sort of desire for like other bands to pop up. It's just sort of weird, in my opinion. I don't know.
I can't blame you for that. I really like this new wave of post-punk, but it's like, I mean, like, if you're not into it, it's like, I get it. It's not the most original, rock music happening right now, but I do think it's just, like, really well done, but well done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like, post-punk really isn't that original, but, I forgot Mourn, too. That's sort of a smaller, act. I mean, you have a few others, but yeah, there just really isn't just a massive push for it. And it's just this weird thing to me.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Shit. God damn it. Why did I let Jackson call in? Like, I should have let him call in, like, right now, because he could have talked about, like, this album and then Moses Sumney. Because I had some thoughts, but this new Killers album, Wonderful, Wonderful, it's actually really good. And I'm shocked. Even though I actually liked, like, almost all the singles leading up to it, I was actually I was shocked. Oh, there's a motorcycle again. Dylan's motorcycle.
I'm so sorry.
This new Killers album, Wonderful, Wonderful. It's honestly pretty good for a band like the Killers to make an album like this good in 2017. It's something that's like, I gotta give him the props, because this is way better than it has any right to be. Like, there's some really great like all-time Killer songs like on this album, and it's overall like it's a really consistent effort throughout. There's the occasional stinker, but for the most part it's like really consistently well done and good. So again, Jackson was like, I remember when this came, like the night this came out, or like the weekend. And, like, Jackson was, like, texting me. He was a little off the goose, like, texting me about the album. I was also talking to Jeremiah about it, and they both were just, like, flipping out. And, like, that was carrying over to me. And I was, like, I had just gotten home from, like, I was on the train back home for a weekend. And I was in bed. I'm like, oh, God. Like, I haven't listened yet. Like, Jackson, like, please calm down. Like, in my head. But, anyways, this is pretty good. I'm going to give it some more listens soon. Because my entire listening has been like wrapped up in like some playlist, Lil Melda, the Lobart 2, a little bit of Japanese Breakfast, and some Pine Grove, and that's it. But I guess we can go to the next one, unless one of you guys has some thoughts on this.
I have zero thoughts.
I have absolutely no desire to ever listen to this album.
Never given a shit about the Killers, and I don't plan on starting now.
Damn.
I feel like I started off a much harsher chain of events than I meant to.
Damn.
I was like a neutral.
Hey,
it's like hard neutral for me.
Hey, how about we have some
thing on Twitter where like I got in trouble with Twitter user Banner Carlisle, one of a friend of the show, and that I've never actually ever heard Mr. Brightside anywhere, or at least I don't think I have.
That's impressive. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, like my thinking is that like I've definitely listened to it before, like I've definitely heard it somewhere, just walking around on a mall somewhere, I think, but I never knew that it was Mr. Brightside, so I have no idea what it actually sounds like. Like I've never seeked out or sought out the song to listen to it on its own, and I don't know, it's just this sort of bizarro thing, I guess.
Jesus. How about we have some positivity on this podcast for just a moment? because I just heard some just really just like really offensive stuff I just heard. So let's have some positivity. Fortet,
drag me, please.
Fortet, new energy. I don't have any thoughts. I haven't listened, but Dylan and Lily, fucking, go for it. Go.
I mean, I really like this album, but I don't have a ton to say about it. Like, this is a great Fortet album. It's the first, like, certifiably great Fortet album we've had in a while. I know the comparison was thrown around yesterday with There's Lovin' You. And, like, yeah, it's kind of just a coalescence of everything he's done since that album. And also, like, a throwback to, like, the really down-tempo sort of round sound he had when he first broke through. Combined with just, like, some really, slow-moving, large, lush electronics, and then, like, a very interesting instrumental influence, which seemed to be, like, primarily what was coming through on his last album, Morning Evening, which, like, I'm skeptical to call an album. Like, sure, it was 42 minutes, but, like, it was 2 very minimal tracks. Like, it seems weird to say this is, like, that album exists in a form that is on a similar level of, like, density and intricacy to, like, this or Beautiful Rewind, which is underrated, by the way. I liked Beautiful Rewind a lot, but yeah, I'm happy. The man Kieran is back at it for sure. This is a really strong, like, late career album from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is, by all accounts, New Energy is a return to form for Kieran. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I agree pretty much with Lillian's that it's like Morning Evening is pleasant. Beautiful Rewind is pleasant. Pink, the sort of compilation, quote unquote, compilation album that he put out back in 2012 was, decent. But he hasn't had that standout work since There Is Lovin' You.
I mean, the impression I got is that, like, he wasn't entirely interested in the album as, like, a format for that period of his career. Like, it really seemed to be more just, like, out of convenience of, like, yep, like, here's where I'm going to sandwich all my tracks together. But, like, New Energy is definitely, like, an album statement in the same way that There Was Lovin' You was.
Yeah. Yeah, like, there was, really, it just comes down to sound and influence, I think, because, like, for the better half of the decade since There Was Lovin' You, he's been noodling around with, like, these, like, instances of more upbeat Euro house and Euro techno, and sort of shied away from that more of, like, ambient micro house, sort of, like, more calm, mellow, introspective side of his music for more of almost a party-like atmosphere, especially with sides of Morning Evening and Beautiful Rewind. But no, New Energy is just so strong. It flows incredibly well. It's everything you would expect in a Fortet album, where it's just got this impeccable detail. It's so lush and wonderful to listen to. It just makes me smile every time I listen to it. I just get this massive grin on my face, and I just love listening to it. Honestly, I was not expecting this to be anything more than just, like, more, like, pleasant Fortet music. I thought that period of him making definitive electronic albums, for, like, certain time periods, like rounds, like There Is Lovin' You, I thought that was like past him.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this from him. I kind of thought he was just gonna, like you said, like, keep noodling around forever and just sort of keep doing stuff, like, whatever he felt like at the time, and then just condensing it into, a project format. But, like, this is definitely, like, a major statement from him.
Yeah, definitely. So, like, to have this come out like pretty much out of nowhere for me, because I didn't really bother listening to the opening tracks. I was just gonna wait until the album drops and then just use it as, like, study music, But no, this is probably the biggest surprise of the year. For me, at least, it's the biggest surprise of the year, just because I was not expecting it to be this high quality. to be this, just have this immediate impact on me and just like give me, make me take a step back and be like, what is going on? But I love the album. Fortet, Kieran, you beautiful man, you did it again.
Hey. All right. Next album on the list, Chelsea Wolfe, His Spun.
This is another one that you should have waited for
I know
Jackson to call in for.
Jackson has some strong takes on this one.
I got a little impatient. I should have told Jackson, I think he's busy anyways. Like that window of time was like the only time, and we talked about some things for a while. But
as the resident Chelsea Wolfe informant, long before Jackson was, because apparently Jackson never actually listened to a whole lot of Abyss, but I did, and I also listened to a whole lot of Pain is Beauty and a shit ton of Apocalypsis. I am a massive Chelsea Wolfe fan, and this is like this is everything that Abyss was, and then it's like this hard-edged doom metal sound, this very disgustingly dark and grimy sound and vocal delivery from Chelsea, and it's pushed all the way to 11. Like, this isn't even like a gothic rock thing anymore. She's just but it's still really wonderful. I can't say if how much I like it, because like just fitting into her whole overall canon, like Abyss was a very impactful record to me, and so was Apocalypsis. So I still need a lot more time to process this album, and I really wish Jackson was here because his reaction sort of mirrored the reaction that I had to Abyss, and this very just straight out of the gate, I fucking love this kind of reaction. And to me, His Spun, when I started listening to it, I was like, this is pretty good, but I wasn't, it didn't click for me immediately. I think for fans of Chelsea Wolfe who have been around longer, this album will probably take a little more time to get used to, just because watching her progression of sound from like this sort of like gothic rock singer-songwriter lo-fi sound from Apocalypsis and Grime and Glow to a more electronic in Pain is Beauty and Abyss, and then just slowly transitioning into this metal stage. It's definitely an interesting arc to her career, but it's still good. Chelsea's still the supreme goth queen. I love her. I'm gonna go see her as of the recording tonight. I'm going to go see her in a few days in Dallas. It's gonna be a great show. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this album, like right off the bat, and I struggled with Abyss in that I liked the aesthetic of that album, but I just found a lot of like the songs on that album were really like slow and droning and just sort of like flattened out and fell into the background for me. But with this is like a really engaging record, and her songwriting is really tight. And I see this as like a perfect refinement of like the ideas she was presenting on Abyss. So like I haven't had a ton of time with it, but like this is definitely like a huge step up as far as I'm concerned. I'm like very into it.
Yeah. I was super into the concept of Abyss, which is probably what elevated it for me in my mind, because that whole album is just a concept album on Chelsea dealing with her sleep paralysis. So I don't really know like the concept of His Spun very well, so that's something I'm gonna have to go back and just read more interviews about it, get more context of it, because there's a lot of very dark stuff on here that it's like, okay, I'm reading the lyrics, I know there has to be something to this. Like, Chelsea has literally written songs about, just people getting swept away by fucking tsunamis. Like she's an impeccable songwriter. And just reading the lyrics on this album, I was like, okay, they're it's not quite hitting me yet, and I wish it did, but I just need more time to sit with it, to process it.
All right, Zach.
Oh, hey, hello. I'm gonna do two quick hits real quick, because like I wanted to talk about these albums a while ago, but then we kind of took the month off. So, first one is Iron and Wine's latest album, Beast Epic. Like, Iron and Wine, like Starbucks core or whatever, but that's the music I like, and Beast Epic is a really great example of what that genre can be if it's done right. Like, the instrumentation is pretty sparse, spare. It's his guitar and his voice mostly, just like Our Endless Numbered Days, which is a classic, by the way. Go listen to that. And yeah, it's a great return to form after he sort of lost his way somewhere around Ghost on Ghost, so good for him. And the second one, even quicker than that, is Randy Newman's newest album called Dark Matter. I just want to say, Randy Newman is one of the great living American songwriters. He is one of the best to ever do it, and he still has his fastball. Dark Matter is just a gift. Go listen to it if you appreciate great songwriting. Okay.
All right. So, I don't know who else would also be considered post-rock experts for this next one, other than me. So I guess I'll just lead off the discussion of Godspeed You. What?
I would like to throw my hat. I will not say expert, but certainly in the post-rock ring. Continue.
Yeah. All right. The new Godspeed You Black Emperor album, Luciferian Powers. I guess if you know me, if you follow me on Twitter, if you have ever read anything of me, posting on the Indieheads subreddit or just noodling about, you'll know I'm a massive Godspeed fan. So I even wrote a recent write-up of my favorite album of theirs, Yankee UXO, that you can go read wherever. I'll probably just throw it on my Twitter later.
Slow Riot, FYC, OTW. It's on the way. It's coming. I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's coming.
I'm eagerly looking forward to it. Anyway.
Definitely just send you that for a proofread for a cosign before I put that out. Anyway, yeah, no, Luciferian Towers. So the background to this is that these actually aren't wholly original compositions by Godspeed. They're tracks that they've played live for a few years, thrown in with drones. So Bosses Hang, I think was a song called Railroads that they've been playing on the road for a few years now. And then I think it's Famine. It's either Famine or Anthem for No State. One of those was originally named Buildings, that they've also been toying around with for a few years now. And then so they just took those tracks, they gave them actual studio recordings, and they just threw in, as post-hiatus Godspeed is ought to do, just throw in a few drone tracks and call it a day. And Luciferian Towers is, I'd like to say it's a little more cohesive than Asunder, Sweet, and Other Distress, which was the last album. But in terms of just the overall Godspeed canon, it's as a cohesive piece of music, which is what I consider Godspeed albums to be, or pretty much any post-rock album to be, is that you just this slab of 40-minute music that
you just should listen all the way through, beginning to end. It's generally just a weaker Godspeed. Not to say it's bad, but it seems almost very sort of like Godspeed playing by the rule book that they invented with Lift Your Skinny Fists, FA Infinity, Yankee, all of the second wave post-rock stuff. So this is a little more by the numbers, third wave post-rock that, again, still isn't bad. If you're a Godspeed fan, you still will enjoy this more, pretty likely you will enjoy this. But it was a little bit of a letdown for me because the pre-release press for all of this made it very...
Oh, that fucking jacket! Holy shit!
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the jacket, the grand statements of demanding ends to foreign invasions. That the what was it? The fuckers who burn this world aren't allowed to speak ever again, or something like that.
Yeah.
Grand
the
demands.
expert fuckers. That was the best
Yeah,
part.
expert fuckers.
Expert fuckers.
Yeah. The grand demands for, what was it, food, healthcare, water, and housing to be inalienable human rights. Like, this was, Godspeed's been political, but this is the most outwardly political they've been, at least as, their main act.
Also, continued grandmasters of the lyric sheet.
Oh, yeah. Their entire physical packaging for the record. Yeah. I have it here on my shelf. It's fucking great. Their lyric sheet is fucking great. Just everything oh my god, I love it. I love their aesthetic so much. But yeah, just as a music, I expected it to be, I don't know, just a little different.
I thought just based off the pre-release stuff that it was going to be a real barn burner, and it kind of wasn't. In a way, but it's weird. I have a similar yet contrasting take to you for this album in that it definitely ranks I was underwhelmed. It ranks lower in the Godspeed canon, but still really interesting. And to me, it feels like a departure in a strange way, which a change of pace is not really something you're expecting from Godspeed, as much diversity as they do have within their formula. But it feels like on this album, and they lean towards this on Asunder Suite, it seems like they just moved away from post-rock completely for the most part. I hear a lot of doom metal in this album. I hear a lot of psychedelia in this album. It's a very they're not just going for the post-rock build kind of, or the grand instrumentation or whatever. They're going for something much more nuanced and intricate and really based off performativity. And when I finished this album earlier this evening, it struck me that this album really does work best in the Godspeed are effectively for the most part a live band now, and this album works best in a live setting.
If you
Godspeed sets are freaking 2 hours and 45 minutes long, so this would be not even a third of that. And when the album ended, I was like, okay, great, next song, that felt like one complete entity. In a similar way that Asunder Suite did, which was played as one 45-minute song for years and years beforehand. And yeah, I wanted the next thing, which I didn't get. But there's still some really awesome moments on this album, especially Anthem for No State. Part 2 and 3 of that, those are just gorgeous, Godspeed moments. Nothing on the album ever really does hit peak Godspeed, and there's no there's no melodic moment on here.
No, there's no melodic. There's no East Hastings. There's no crazy conspiracy theorists rattling off on BBF3.
Yeah, more on that later.
But I would like to say though that the drone bits are at least a little more interesting on Luciferian Towers than they were on Asunder Suite. Which really
and on Alleluia, I would argue, they used the drone most effectively then. Where on Alleluia, I barely listen to the drone parts anymore, and on Asunder Suite, they were interesting, but they were really drawn out. So I thought
They
this
were,
was
like,
finally
the
like
middle-
a nice integration of them into
Yeah.
like, you know, the overall feel of the set.
Yeah, so at least it sounds more of like a little more of Godspeed getting the sort of what do we do with all these drone sections? Okay, we're they integrated them a little better into it. So I did appreciate them with that. But no, as it is, it's still an enjoyable album, just not what I was expecting. I was expecting something more doom and gloom, but instead what I got was something. They went more of like a hopeful, almost uplifting, almost sort of this triumph of humanity in hard times, which is sort of a little bit off the beaten path for them. But
I would argue they lean towards that on a Cinder Suite, especially on the first track, but they're definitely like, the sound doesn't feel more hopeful to me, but definitely lighter. It's not caked in that, like, that Godspeed dirt that like a lot of their best stuff is. It's a very, different approach, and like I appreciate them going off the beaten path and still creating like a rewarding project, even though like it ranks pretty low in the overall like canon of things they've done.
Yeah, like this is not. I mean, post-rock as a genre has really just sort of suffered in the past few years, and that's shown in like the Mogwai record from earlier this year, the Explosions in the Sky from last year, the Indie Halda album from last year was actually pretty good, but it was more of a throwback to that second wave, if anything else. Just sort of the genres slowly sliding into just sort of obscurity. And I really thought that Luciferian Towers was going to be that turning point. That point where the genre gets that kick in the, just sort of that upstart, and that wasn't it. And I guess if Godspeed can't do it, then maybe we just have to look somewhere else. Maybe another post-rock band is doing something completely different, revolutionizing the entire genre. But it's not coming from Godspeed, at least not on this record. So, yeah, just slight disappointment for me.
Alrighty, we got there's one more album on the list, but we are almost at 2 hours in this podcast, so we gotta make this one kind of quick. New Igloo Ghost album, Neo Wax Bloom. I am no Bleep Boop boy, but I thought this was pretty good. I set up his AMA recently. Very nice boy. Was very happy to do that. He was very, very nice.
I've not read that AMA. Did he reply in all caps like he usually does?
Yep, he did.
So, okay.
Answers were all in caps. But
Nice.
I think, but in our emails, he was not an all caps boy. He was a lowercase boy, but very nice boy nonetheless. And this is a pretty good album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is it's a trip. It's a wild ride of an album. It's all over the place. It's jumping everywhere and all at once. It's got bits of glitch hop and bubblegum bass and UK bass and footwork and IDM, and it's going everywhere all at once. It's like just this wild sugar rush, just beating you over the head with like a Candyland board game or something like that. I don't know, you're being drowned in like the Willy Wonka chocolate river or something like that. But it's so technical too. It's like it's got so like just this level of detail to it that's so fucking amazing. The sampling on this is incredible. Just going from like just the vocal samples on Bug Thief or Shards, and then just going and taking a dip into like Infinity Mint towards the end, which is a very aptly named track because Infinity Mint just is a sort of like thresher. It's like, okay, you're slowing it down for me. You're not overwhelming me with sound, even though you could. you're not going to, and I appreciate that because that keeps the album from becoming stale. It's definitely the most inventive, unique album I've listened to this year. It's wonderful.
Boom. That is. I think that's about it. That's all that's on our list. If there's, I just want to make sure for Zach especially. Did we talk about Roastem on the last podcast?
I don't think we did, and to be quite honest with you, I haven't listened to Half-Light, and I don't plan on doing so.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I know you were one of the capers for Roastem, but yeah, I don't want to listen to this. I heard some of the singles, and his voice is so bad, and I just can't. I'll wait for Vampire Weekend. But yeah, I think that's really about it. There's nothing else I really want to talk about. I guess some quick shouts. The new Kamasai Washington EP, Harmony of Difference, is really good. This this Holy Fuck EP that Josiah recommended to me, called Bird Brains, that's pretty good. New Ariel Pink album is pretty good. And, yeah, that's about it for me. Is any other quick albums y'all want to shout out real quick before we wrap things up?
Shout out to the electronic album of the year, Tenderness by Blue Hawaii, which just dropped right now. And I'm going to go listen to it the second this call ends.
Shout out to Kalela, which also just dropped, and which I will also be listening to the second this call ends.
As long as this is the theme we're following, I'd like to send shout-outs to Wolf Parade and Colts, both of whom dropped new albums today. And Wolf Parade have an AMA on Indieheads today at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, if you're interested in that.
Ba-boom, and I set that one up. So definitely be on the lookout. And I want to give a shout-out to Liam Gallagher. Shouts out to Liam Gallagher.
For existing, presumably? Because the music ain't nothing writing home about.
Oh yeah, mainly for existing, because it's really funny seeing headlines. Because the Gallaghers are an endless source of entertainment of how petty they are. It's really impressive, and I really appreciate it. Oh yeah, that's about it for this podcast. We'll be back at some time.
Julian Baker cast. Cast.
Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, that's it. Late October,
yes.
Right? I think it's either the 16th or the end of the month. I'm not sure.
Okay, well,
I hope it's the end, so I'm back in town. I gotta bust my gay nut all over that episode.
All right, so we'll be back at some point in October. We will actually have 2 episodes in October. I swear on it. That's the only promise. That's the only promise I can make. So we'll see y'all next time. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and yeah, bye.